Well, it says we're live. Hello, everyone. It's Tuesday. It's 4 o'clock Pacific, 7 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock here in Costa Rica, 1 a.m. in Italy, 8:30 and 9:30 a.m. Wednesday morning in Australia, and it's Facebook Live. Hope you all are doing well. It's great to be with you again. And we have a very special guest today, my friend, Dr. Anna Cabeca, who we've been friends. Anna, I think you were in that first, oh, we just lost her. All right, she'll come back. I'm sure she'll come back to us. And when she does, I'll introduce her. So hope you're all doing well in the midst of this craziness. Marzi is getting my phone on to Facebook Live so I can see who's here. Here we go. Let's see. Oh, Debbie's here from British Columbia. Hi, Debbie. Debbie Klukas. And let's see. Let me know if you're out there. It may be just a delay. I can see there's a bunch of people here. But if you're putting messages on announcing, it's taking us. Dorada's here from New York City. Hey, Dorada. Hope you're doing well. Wanda's here from Long Island. Oh, that's close together, you two. This is Amal. Amal, hi. Did you enjoy our coffee yesterday morning? I thought that went really well. Okay, Anna's back. So Dr. Anna Cabeca. And Anna, I was just saying that, weren't you in that first seminar that I went to in January of 2013, the JJ seminar, where I announced that I was going to do this thing about gluten, and we did the gluten summit after that?
Yes, absolutely. That was in California, somewhere, I think, if I remember correctly. And we were at a very big round table, so to speak, a round group. And they were like, you are that is your platform. You have to seize it. And that's where, yeah, I remember that day very well. It was a good,
as do I. That's the day. I mean, I actually raised my hand that weekend, feeling very embarrassed, and said, excuse me, what is an affiliate? That I had no idea. And for those who are watching, an affiliate is someone who supports an event that you're doing. I learned that weekend just how effective and what a larger reach of people can be contacted by doing events online and summits and information series and things like that. And so Dr. Anna and I go back all the way back to when I first started this thing at theDr.com to do online events. So it's a long
when
time.
JJ heard you had that website, theDr.com, she was like, what? That is so huge.
Yes. That was a long time ago. That was great. And Dr. Anna is taking time out. She's on a holiday weekend or week with her daughter, who is doing barrel racing, riding horses right now. And how's that going for you?
She's going amazing. When you have a daughter into horses, it's, you hold out as long as you can, and then it looks like you buy a few horses. Yeah. Horses, and she's been great. She's 12 years old. She's been riding since she was 2. Her sisters love horses. I love horses. But she's definitely taking it into the rodeo, more of a competitive circuit. So we're out here in East Texas, where one of the most world famous barrel racers, her name is Martha Josie. She has her clinic out here, and there are 80 riders, 80, a wide range of age, but 80 horses running in the arena, training, doing. It's just amazing seeing, especially the little ones with these amazing animals.
How wonderful experience that must be. That's like a parent's dream, to watch your child be really focused and passionate about something and watch them develop their skill.
Frankly, Tom, I really opted for golf or tennis, a safer sport, right? Let's have a safer sport.
Right. That's a good point. So we're here today, and we've asked Dr. Anna to join us because we're going to talk about the ketogenic diet. And some of the information that Dr. Anna has is just cutting edge, first class. And so let's just do a deep dive into it right away. And for those of you that have been having questions about ketogenic diet, feel free to post them here and we'll answer them for you. But Dr. Anna, let's just start. Talk about why this topic for you. What's your experience with this world of ketogenic diets?
Oh, yeah, no, it's a fun experience. Certainly, I have a daughter with seizures. So she's 31 now, but she started having seizures at 20. So I learned very quickly that ketogenic diet is brain neuroprotective. And that was something that we needed to really work on implementing. And for her, right, that was a thing for her predominantly, right? And as a functional medicine doctor, hormone expert, I really looked at alkalinizing, detoxifying, hormone balancing foods. And then I hit age 48. And at 48, I started experiencing what so many of my patients came in experiencing. They would say, Dr. Anna, I'm gaining 5, 10, 20 pounds, and I'm not doing anything different. You know, as a compassionate young doctor, I was kind of skeptical, actually, to be honest. I'd be like, really, you're not doing anything different? Like, how is that possible? But lo and behold, and I write about this in my book, Keto-Green 16, there are 13, there are many, but 13 key weight control hormones. Well, when you're hitting that transition stage in the perimenopause, there is a big shift. And our hormones are changing, our body's changing, and we become more weight loss resistant, metabolically conservative. So in other words, we can sustain long periods of famine. So for me, I gained 20 pounds basically overnight. And I'd been at one point well over 240 pounds, lost 80 pounds, kept it off for nearly a decade. And that weight gain, if anyone's listening and you've gained weight, you know, after a significant amount of weight loss, you're like, when is that going to stop? Especially if you're not doing anything different, right? It's terrifying. So I took out all carbs. I followed the keto plan, you know, to the best of my ability. And I felt terrible. I was spiraling downwards even more. I felt like, I didn't have keto flu because I'd been really focused on detox for a long time, was dairy-free, gluten-free, all that good stuff. But I had what I call keto cranky or keto crazy. Like my neurotransmitters were out of balance. So that led me into the missing point of the alkalinizers, hence the green part of Keto Green. And when I incorporated the two, the weight dropped off, the energy returned, the vitality returned. And so that was like 6 years ago now. And it really has made a tremendous difference, and not just in maintaining a healthy, happy weight is what I like to say, but also clarity and being able to have a purpose-driven life, to be a good mom, as a mom to 4 daughters now, to be able to run a business, write books. I wasn't able to do that at 48, but now at 54, I'm much clearer, much more aware. And the ketogenic, that's how I fell into the ketogenic lifestyle, but had to do something different for those of us with hormonal transition in the peri and post menopause.
That's a wonderful story, and thank you for telling us that. And most people wouldn't think that they would be able to say, my brain is functioning so much better than it was 6 years ago. I'm doing things that I wasn't able to do 6 years ago. I'm writing books. I've got a business. I see patients, and my brain is working really well, and I'm not taking any drugs to do that. And that's a really important point. And I think a lot of people just went, what did you say? And you threw a couple of key concepts out there in this introduction. I'm going to ask you about them. But first, I'm going to do a shout out to Liz is here from the UK. Hi, Liz. And Sharon's here from Springfield, and Cindy Foley's Pennsylvania. JC Ann is also Pennsylvania. Dora's in North Carolina. Mary's in Tampa. Annie's in Australia. Hi, Annie. Is it 8:30 or 9:30 in the morning there? So I'd like to get straight on that one, on the area of Australia that you're in. And we'll do more shout outs later. But a couple of the key points that you brought up that people might not recognize, that I did immediately. I've never heard anyone who's writing or talking about ketogenic diets who are talking about alkalizing the diet. So can you start with that, and what does it mean to alkalize a diet? What is the word alkaline? We all know, we've heard acid and alkaline, but what does that mean?
Yeah, no, this is a really good concept. And we know from basic biology, right? We think of the acid and bases. And when we think of the whole entire pH scale, that's what we're referring to. We're referring to where on the pH scale we lie. And it ranges from 0 to 14, with 7 being neutral in the middle, and less than 7, 0 to 7 is acidic, and over 7 is considered alkaline. And what I like to tell people, think of acidic, and there are different pHs for different areas of our body. And that's really important. Our stomach's very acidic, our skin's acidic. It's a first line of defense. The vagina's acidic. And then there are alkaline areas as well. So we want to look at where our pH, what is it telling us at different times too. And so with the just one thing I love to tell clients is that when you think of acidity, think of a city like New York City or London, industrial, busy, a lot of concrete, a lot of pollution, right? That is acidity, and those things will make us acidic for sure. Stress, high stress, fast paced. And then alkalinity, think of the jungle or a forest or the beach, being out in nature, being, really embraced by nature and enjoying having a great chill family picnic or something like that. That I like to think of that as alkalinity, and that gives you this kind of shift. And what's really important to understand, our hormones have different acidifying or alkalinizing effects on our body chemistry as well. Cortisol, no surprise, very acidic hormone, creates inflammation, increases glucose, all things that increase your acidity. And then with the concept of oxytocin, the hormone of love, bonding, and connection, the hormone that helps us have a baby in labor. We give it, as obstetricians, we give it IV. It's IV Pitocin. And that oxytocin hormone is also secreted with love and embrace and laughter and orgasm and pleasure. All of these things increase oxytocin, and that is a very alkalinizing hormone on our body. So what I recognized when I went keto and I would check my urine pH, because I was feeling miserable, and I was like, what is going on? Let me do my checklist. Let me check my hormones. They were dialed in. Let me check, all my body chemistry. Let me check my urine pH. And I was so acidic as the pH paper would read. We know from scientific studies. Yeah. And that was eye-opening for me. But again, it made sense because stress and a very high acid-based diet with not enough plant foods, fiber, and life-affirming, oxytocin producing activities. Those things, that stress state, it was very, very acidic. So using a combination of adding in then the alkalinizing greens, the beet greens, the kale, the cruciferous vegetables, all the low carbohydrate alkalinizing superfoods that also help with hormone balance, I started to get more alkaline. But one thing, and this is really profound, Dr. Tom, is that the mornings I went for a walk outside in nature, or walked on the beach, or did my gratitude journaling, I was more alkaline all day. And I measured this by urine pH testing, which is like checking your temperature. It's a little bit high. It's, we want it nice and alkaline. If it's too acidic, that's like, a stress signal.
Let's stop there for a minute. Now, so something that people could do is get some pH paper at the local pharmacy. It costs you like $4. I don't know what it costs, but it's really inexpensive. And then you just tear off a little strip. It's about this wide, and you do a strip about that long. And when you're urinating, you just let a little urine touch part of the strip. And then you just shake it off a little bit, and so there's nothing running on it. And you just wait, 30 seconds or 40 seconds. And then the strip paper container has a color bar on it, looks like the rainbow. And you just put the paper next to it, and whatever color is now on the paper where it got wet with the little urine, you match it, and that's your pH. I mean, it's really simple. And it's inexpensive. And it would be a wise move to, you remember everyone, my 1 hour a week that you do something for your health out of the norm every week, 1 hour a week. It would be a wise move to take an hour, go to the pharmacy, get some pH paper, call them ahead of time and ask them, or order it on the Amazon. I'm sure you can get it there. And just check yourself and check your family. And you might find that you want to be a little above neutral. So Dr. Anna, 7.4, 7.6?
Yeah, over 7. Yeah.
Just over 7. And what if it gets too alkaline? What would we consider too alkaline?
Well, I think if you're persistently on the very, very dark blue, it depends on the read, but if you're consistently over 8.5, you want to ask why. Some medications will do that. So are you consistently alkaline all day? Now, I haven't had a single situation in which this has been true, that it wasn't related to medication, post a medication, or post baking soda or Alka-Seltzer or something like that. We can see that elevated, but in the over 10,000, I created these little urine test strips. So we've been having clients use them, and it is in over, thousands of women have not had that issue. Now it could be, again, and we would look at some physiological issue, but that is typically the reason. It's because of a medicine or something they've taken.
Oh, marvelous. And do you have the pH paper available on your website?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. It's Keto pH. So it measures pH and ketones.
Oh, marvelous.
Urine, pH, and ketones. So I'm simple. I'm a busy mom, right? I want to pee on one thing, not two things. So I combined test strips so that it could make my life easier.
And this could be a game changer for anyone who's watching today, because you might be startled to see that you actually are a little more acidic. And you think, well, I'm eating lots of vegetables, I'm fine. And you do the test and you find you're not, which then will lead you into maybe getting Dr. Anna's book or learning more on her website or other things we'll talk about here. It'll lead you to pursue answering the question, why am I acidic? Because if you're acidic means accelerating. Just think, acid accelerates aging. AAA. I never thought of that before, but it's AAA. Yeah, me too. That's good. I just came up with a new one. Whoa! All right, high five. Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you so much. That's great. That's great. So, and so you've been focusing on using this simple, inexpensive biomarker as a tool. And what have you found for people who tend to be more acidic? Are there common symptoms? Are there, for age bracket, different symptoms that are common to see?
Well, this is a really interesting point, because it's just to your point too, is that there are many people in the programs that are doing a healthy lifestyle. But what they find out, especially with the checking, like test, don't guess, I will say, get your Nancy Drew on, look at these biomarkers. What gets measured gets managed. What they find is sometimes they're getting too much sugar. If they're juicing, and many times even my vegetarian vegans that are eating a predominantly alkaline diet can be acidic from food sensitivities. And we start doing like this triage: dehydration, food sensitivities, too much sugar, hyperglycemia, high blood sugar levels, or insulin resistance that will naturally keep higher blood sugar levels in the system, underlying infection, and we run down the list, other causes that could be causing inflammation, could be causing high blood glucose. And the big one for, I would say, over half of our ladies is stress. Stress. They can be eating perfectly, measuring this, measuring that, but stress. And once they get more oxytocin in their life, that's a game changing.
So stress, it's an overwhelming word that people really feel. Most people, my experience is, they feel helpless when they're told they have too much stress. It's a helpless feeling. So one of the complications of hormones that are produced when we're under more stress than we should be, the fight, flight, or fright hormones, the sympathetic nervous system hormones, is that it makes you more acidic. Now, I've never thought about this. Have you thought about why stress hormones will reduce our pH and make us more acidic? What's the mechanism for that? What in nature would cause that to occur?
Yeah, I had to figure this out because it was baffling me too. So cortisol increases hydrogen ion secretion across the renal tubules. So that will lower the urinary pH, creating a more acidic urinary pH. So how do you balance that? Potassium, magnesium, our minerals and salts will balance that, and decreasing cortisol. Nothing will overcome. Like, it is hard to overeat high cortisol. It is hard to eat away high cortisol, right?
You mean eat vegetables to balance against high cortisol?
Yeah, it's really hard. It's really hard. It's important that's why it's a lifestyle. In my book, Keto-Green 16, it's a lifestyle. There's a menu plan, 16-day menu plan, intermittent fasting, but it's not just what we eat. It's how we eat, when we eat, maybe even who we're eating with. That can work for us or against us, right?
Yeah.
And I found that it's really, when we feel overwhelmed by stress, especially, it can feel that there's a simple exercise that I like to just have clients practice, just this simple exercise to put it into perspective and to rest and to be able to be grounded in the present reality of their lives. And that does just a simple stress reducing activity that increases heart rate variability and increases oxytocin. It just takes a couple minutes.
Marvelous, marvelous. We have a few questions that have come in. First, Cindy Foley says, Dr. Tom, did anyone ever tell you you rock? Well, thank you, Cindy. That's really nice of you. Honey, do you hear that? I rock.
Yes.
Marzi just went like this. So. Catherine says, thanks. She said hi. Catherine says, your story is very inspiring, Dr. Anna. Are there any people for whom the Keto-Green meal plan is not appropriate or needs to be tweaked?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I get that question often. And I would say you definitely have to be very cautious if you're type 1 diabetic, and you're under multiple medications for any reason, or under the care of a physician for any reason. It's always good to get clearance, because I am doing extended fasting with Keto-Green 16. In my experience, as we graduate up to that, pretty much everyone can do it. But my type 1 diabetics, you've got to manage your insulin. You have to be on continuous glucose monitoring. You'll also see amazing results, but you need supervision when you're doing it. And the second group are ApoE clients that are genetically have high, are genetic ApoE karyotypes. Not that they can't do it, but we want to watch their lipid panel, their fractionated lipid panel over time. And over time, we might see a little bump and then a reduction again over time. But we want to watch that in those clients as well.
And for those people, what Dr. Anna was just referring to when she says ApoE, there is a gene that we get one from our mother and one from our father. It's called ApoE. So we all get two of them. And it's either a 2, a 3, or a 4 that we get. So you can be a 2-2, a 2-3, a 2-4, a 3-3, or a 3-4, or a 4-4. Those are the only options, but we all are some combination of the ApoE gene that our mother had and that our father had. Now, the ApoE4 gene has been referenced for many years as the Alzheimer's gene. And what Dr. Anna is saying is that if you carry that gene, it doesn't mean that you can't do this, and rather that it probably is going to be really beneficial for your physiology, but you just have to check and make sure that somebody's monitoring you because of cholesterol concerns for ApoE4s. So, and how do you know if you're an ApoE? Well, it's a simple test that can be done. You ask your doctor, your healthcare practitioner to do it. It's on our site. You'll see it's called the Alzheimer's test is there. And who should get this test as maybe a precautionary safety check those that have a family history of Alzheimer's, your parents, your grandparents, a sibling, an aunt, an uncle, someone close in your family tree, that suggests that you may carry that gene. And if you do, it's not a sentence you're getting Alzheimer's by any means. It's just, it says that you're vulnerable to Alzheimer's if you don't do the right thing. And I've talked about that for years. And one of the right things to do is to balance your pH and balance your hormones, because one of the 5 types of Alzheimer's is hormone-related Alzheimer's, having your hormones out of balance. And if you have diabetes, there's a new type of diabetes, came out about 8-9 years ago, I think. We know type 1 is the autoimmune diabetes. Type 2 is the one lifestyle develops. Now we know there's a type 3. And the manifestations of that from years and years of bad blood sugar balance, it looks like Alzheimer's. So for those people, it's a good idea to get the ApoE check done, just so you know if you need to monitor this even closer. And from that perspective, Sharon Lockett wrote, 72 female, lowering my blood glucose by eating Keto-Green. Blood glucose is down from 140 to 99.
Yay, so, Sharon. Congratulations. Awesome.
That's right. High five, girl. Way to go. Way to go. That's really good. That's really great. And Dr. Connor's here. Dr. Connor, nice to see you. Practices outside of Chicago. Says, I love thinking about what we can all agree on as practitioners, regardless of the specific diet. Vegetables, darker colors the better, are good, and a limited few fruits. We can all agree on that. These foods are a perfect addition to a well-formulated ketogenic diet. Not sure why micronutrients took such a backseat to macronutrients here. The pioneers, Drs. Volek and Finney, make this distinction quite clearly. It's a mitochondrial and microbiome health issue, correct, Doc? So there's a question to you, Dr. Anna.
Yeah, absolutely. And definitely micronutrients are critical, and that is putting that together, and not just the healthy, again, the healthy balance of micronutrient rich foods in Keto-Green 16. We add in fermented foods, digestive supportive foods, the alkalinizing foods, and the different, from the different categories to not just balance, but to balance the combinations of foods we're eating at the same time to really help with digestion, absorption. That makes a huge difference. And then having extended fasting so that, we're empowering our body to completely digest and get that blood sugar nice and low, and to get in the state of rejuvenating, restful, healthy digestion during that time as much as possible. So I'm 100% with you. And also, we know that the diverse plant-based foods increase the diversity of the microbiome, which improves our immune system, immune integrity, the health of our intestinal tract, just an entire hormonal health as well. And not only is the microbiome really important, but in studying the formulation of recipes and foods and all of this together, is looking at the estrobolome, right? How important bacteria within our gut that are responsible for estrogen detoxification, to go from toxic estrogens to safe, healthy, and eliminate our estrogens, how that's really crucial to the health of the microbiome. And again, plant diversity of plants and plant foods, and the combination of healthy foods as well as fermented foods can be game changing when it comes to this as well. And something we've noticed, because I always think, I treat, I'm an obstetrician and gynecologist, and I've treated as a referral physician for clients with breast cancer. How do we help them in many issues, right? So I always think, what can I do for patients who have had breast cancer and aren't able to have some of the hormonal interventions that I would otherwise be using? And what are things that will make a really big difference? And how do I test and follow them? And one of the ways is that we look at this estrogen detoxification, and we look at foods that support healthy estrogen detoxification, healthy estrogen metabolites, and as well support the microbiome, our first line of defense. And that can make a big difference. But not just the foods, intermittent fasting. In the Journal of the American Medical Association in 2016, they published a study looking at women with breast cancer and looked at their risk of recurrence. What they found was that if women had at least 13 hours between dinner and breakfast, they had a significantly reduced hemoglobin A1C, one of our markers of how well managed blood sugar is over time, as well as a significantly reduced risk of recurrent breast cancer. Now,
Wow.
that to me should have made front page news.
Yeah, that should be front page news. There's just no profit in it. That's why it's not front page, but it's really important to know that. And when you're talking about fasting mimicking diets, and you said 13 hours between dinner and breakfast, what does that look like? What are you referring to? What's for people to do the numbers? So if you finish eating at 7:30 in the evening, then you're saying that we could have breakfast at 8:30 the next morning.
Yeah, well, that absolutely, that would be fine for 13 hours. I want to push people to that 16-hour window as I do in Keto-Green 16, but do at least that, right? So from 7 p.m. to 8 a.m. And I caution clients, the later we eat dinner, and this, I know this goes against our American way of life, but let's just try to make it 80% of the time that we really want to eat dinner by 7 p.m. because we know, according to the research, that any meal we eat at 7, 8, after 7 p.m., say we eat a meal at 8 p.m., compare that insulin secretion to the same meal that we ate at 6 p.m., we're going to excrete as much as 30 to 70% more insulin. In other words, that food goes right into storage as the later we eat. So as women, especially the older we get, we really need to eat by 6 to 7 p.m. and then break fast by 10 to 11 a.m. And that's a perfect window keeping that 16 hours. Start at 12. We can all do 12 very easily. Hydrate well. Thirst is often, hunger is also often an imitation of thirst. So as long as we stay well hydrated and, train our bodies, we can do that and work up to a minimum of 13 to 16 hours on a regular basis.
That is so valuable a recommendation for people to develop that lifestyle habit. Fully agree with you. And, Marzi and I, we've spent about a year and a half almost and a little more living in Northern Italy. And unfortunately, our friends go out to eat, they start at 8:30 or 9 o'clock. And they eat until 11:30, and then they go home. They have we have a nice time, and then everybody goes home to go to bed. And as Dr. Anna is saying, when you do that and you're not moving around afterwards, you're not doing things in life, and all of that, not all, most of the sugars in the food that you eat, the carbohydrates, the pasta, the breads, the rice, the quinoa, whatever they should be, a higher percentage of that gets converted into stored fat. So finishing your meal earlier in the evening is one of those base hits that can have long-term benefits. That's really well said, Dr. Anna, and a great point to really drive home for everyone here. We have a couple more questions. Luann's asking, high oxalates was causing me a lot of problems. Laying off the salt is helping as well. Will keto be okay with those?
Yeah, definitely. It will help. It can help and just remove the oxalate foods that are bothering you, but there are plenty of other good options. I want to go back to your comment about Italy and how that makes a difference. Like, how can they be so healthy and eating so late? And I think one of the things that from my travels, what I experienced is they're not snacking, right? They're not snacking during the day, right? There's a social interaction too, high oxytocin with those meals, those get together, that fun and camaraderie. That's a high oxytocin meal too. And there's in France, when I traveled in the south of France, restaurants are not open. They will not serve you food, no bread, no nuts, no anything in between these mealtime hours. So I found that to be maybe another reason. Was that the same for you in Italy?
Yes, it was. Yes. And so sometimes Marzi and I would leave the house to go out to dinner at 8 or 8:30, and those were late nights. And I don't feel so well the next morning when I wake up if I'm eating late at night. And so we tried most of the time not to do that, but on occasion, it's going to happen. It's okay. You don't have to be fanatical about this. As you head in a certain direction, you notice that you feel better when you do dot, dot, dot. And then you just start living your life doing that habit because you feel better as a result. Steph has a question. What about people who are hypoglycemic? Will this stress the adrenal glands and increase cortisol?
You know, that is a great question. And Steph, I get this a lot because people with adrenal fatigue have been told 3 meals, 3 snacks, to frequently eat throughout the day. It is a retraining process that is going to be truly beneficial. With hypoglycemia, you often don't have enough of the healthy fats, the polyunsaturated fats, the olive oil, the avocado oil, those healthy fats that we need to stabilize our blood sugar. In Keto-Green 16, I wore a continuous glucose monitor for a year, basically. And I made sure that every recipe does not spike your glucose. So you're not going to get this peak and then this bottoming out of blood sugar. So if you've had hypoglycemia, I recommend have your doctor write you a continuous glucose monitor like the Freestyle Libre, Libre. I write about that in Keto-Green 16. Has to be by prescription, but put that on your arm. Don't buy the extra monitor. Use your smartphone. You can download an app, and the reader on your phone will just read from that NFC reader, essentially, reads your blood sugar, and you can see what's happening. You will be able to safely extend the time between meals and watch your blood sugar so it stays stable in a very, healthy range, like 70 to 115, believe me, or 60 to 115, depending on where your sweet spot is. And watch how that makes a huge difference. Healthy fats, high quality protein, lots of fiber to also taper to attenuate that blood sugar spike and that release. And that makes a huge difference in how you feel. And I've had clients who've been struggling with adrenal issues for so long, seriously, within 2 weeks, feel tremendously rejuvenated.
Great answer. And I am all about biomarkers, little things that you can do to monitor your body, like the urine sticks or this patch that measures blood sugar levels. These little things give you more information of what you can get away with and what you can't. Body language never lies. And so you think, well, I ate a bunch of vegetables yesterday. I can eat pizza tonight. Well, go ahead. As long as if you've got biomarkers that will tell you, you'll see the impact of that. And oftentimes what we eat would be startling to see. It's quite a surprise.
It is. And it actually, to watch what it does to your body, because you may know, like, oh my gosh, I eat this and I feel terrible, but watch, your blood sugar's gone up and then it's gone really low. And that hypoglycemic peak is why you're exhausted. And you're like, I just need a nap. I can't do this, but let me have some coffee, or I need something to eat. I'm feeling shaky. And it's because of that high spike. Now I've experimented with that too. Like, okay, what can I drink? What can I eat? We're traveling and my daughter had Five Guy French fries. I'm like, it's not something I'm going to eat. All right. I had five Guy French fries. Okay. Maybe 10. And seriously, big spike in blood sugar, big spike, and a big valley right after. And I was like, I need a nap on the plane. I'm so tired.
And once you see that, you can't argue with it. You can't argue with yourself. You say, well, my body was not telling me the truth about those 10 French fries. You can't argue with it anymore. So you may decide to have French fries once in a while, but now you know, right? And our goal, I can speak for Dr. Anna on this, and my goal we just want you to know what you can do to feel more vibrant, dynamic, and alive. And then it's up to you. It's up to you. You want to do French fries and pizza? Go for it. Have fun. But I hope you don't. But
yeah, okay. Watch what happens. And so you stop making excuses like, oh, I'm just tired, or blah, blah, blah. You stop making excuses, which is really nice. This information helps. So I've been with my daughter. Oh, okay.
Monica has a question. Love the Mighty Maka, Dr. Anna. Notice increased energy in the AM after taking past 2 mornings. In just 2 mornings. So let's talk about Mighty Maka. Let's introduce it to people. What is Mighty Maka?
Yeah, actually have it here because even though I'm camping, glamping, as my daughter calls it at the rodeo, I brought it with me because I'm like, I have to travel with this, especially, when you're on the road and it to help detoxify. So maca is a root that grows in Peru in the high altitudes. It's known to help with altitude sickness. The ancient Incan warriors would eat it before they went into, or drink it before they went into battle. They make concoctions with it. And they also call it the Peruvian Viagra. And everywhere you go in Peru, they're like, oh, if you're tired, drink maca. If your baby's not thriving, drink maca. If you're infertile, drink maca. And then, they elbowed my husband at the time and said, it's the Peruvian Viagra. So of course I was drinking maca. I was, like, of course we're going to drink this. I've been diagnosed with early infertility at age 39 and irreversible, early menopause. And so in addition, I couldn't stand the taste, to be honest. So I started adding additional superfoods as I learned about them as I traveled around the world, part of my own healing journey. So it has turmeric, quercetin, resveratrol, cat's claw herb. It has grapeseed extract, green tea extract. It has some amazing greens in here as well as just powerful antioxidant combination. So I kind of played with it, been using it clinically. It's at its 10th year anniversary in doctors' offices all around the world. And it helps with the adrenals. It's detoxifying. It's adaptogenic blend. And it just helps with energy, with appetite. It helps with hormones, hot flashes. It's a big win in my communities. You'll see this is part of our foundation. So, and it tastes great because my kids taste tested it for 2 years before I brought it to market.
That's the best taste testers by far is your kids. If they'll do it, you've got a winner.
Oh, yeah.
Mary has a question. There are a few schools of thought. So Dr. Anna, what do you consider breaking a fast? Great word, breakfast. It's actually break fast. Really good question, Mary.
Yes, Mary, I get this question often, and there are many schools of thought. So it's that concept of what kind of fast are we doing, right? And so like if we're dry fasting, we drink anything, even water, we're breaking a fast. Or we're doing a water fast, anything other than water is breaking a fast. Well, with intermittent fasting, we kind of do it to optimize our body's detoxification and rejuvenating power. So what I have clients do when they get up in the morning to hydrate with plain alkaline water or plain filtered water, healthy, clean water. And you can add in like a squirt of lemon juice, a little bit of apple cider vinegar, a scoop of Mighty Maka, something that's 0 calories, or an herbal tea that's alkalinizing, because we've been getting, dehydrated overnight. We're body's detoxing. We're releasing metabolites. We want to eliminate them from our system as healthfully and safely as possible. So adding on some additional micronutrients can really help that. Alkalinizers first thing in the morning can really help that as part of the morning routine. Now, for me, I've been told, I was like, coffee doesn't break your fast. It's not going to affect autophagy, right? Well, I guarantee you, for me, that was an issue because with, fragile adrenal glands and caffeine, even though I'm a rapid caffeine metabolizer, I can drink a pot of coffee and not feel jittery. But my blood sugar told me something different. By using that continuous glucose monitoring, just drinking a cup of coffee in the morning, okay, it's my favorite espresso in the morning, my blood glucose would go up 20 to 30 points. So, and that was enough to push me out of ketosis sometimes, especially as I was trying to, just starting to get into it. That was eye-opening for me because black coffee, no sugar, no creamer, no anything, just black coffee, because of that caffeine increasing glucose, could definitely for me, that was a bump in 20 to 30. And then checking urinary pH, that answered something for me, because I would wake up in the morning, check my pH and ketones, and I could be in ketosis, have black coffee, and then check again because I know it's acidifying, and I would be more acidic and out of ketosis. I'm like, that didn't make sense until I started doing that blood sugar monitoring, switching to herbal teas and eat green tea. And I played around with different kinds of teas. Those have been fine. But sadly, now I wait till, I love a good espresso. I was raised with Turkish coffee. So I'll wait till later in the day or sometimes on the weekend to have that coffee.
Marvelous. Anne wrote, I'm 69 and my weight has followed the extreme weight gain pattern. Dot, dot, suddenly, dot, dot, dot. Well, and then this might relate to you about getting these biomarkers, these simple things, and just start monitoring your urine, morning and afternoon urine, the blood sugar monitor, and just see what's going on a regular basis, on a daily basis. And this will certainly be tools that'll help you figure out what might be triggering your weight gain. So I'm assuming that you, if you're here watching this and your food selections are pretty much on the up and up, you know, we all screw up once in a while, maybe, but I'll just assume you're on the right track and something's not right here. So using biomarkers can help get you more information. Luann wrote a nice message. She said, since I've been listening to you, Dr. Tom, I've lost 40 pounds, kept it off, found a natural doctor, did a food intolerance and roadmap test. I cannot have wheat, dairy, and eggs. Your guests are amazing. I've learned so much from you. I call you my angel doc. Thank you so much, Luann. That's really nice. How did you hear that? I'm an angel doc. Marcy just went. Oh, thank you so much for those kind words. Let's see here. Rodgin says, good morning from the Philippines. Oh, hello. Thank you for joining us. Let's see. Jacqueline says, oh, wow, need to eat dinner earlier. Yes, absolutely.
That's game changing. Just doing that can be game changing.
Yes, agreed. So let's talk a little more about your book, Keto 16, and how long has it been out? I'm sorry?
Keto-Green 16.
Keto-Green 16, thank you. How long has it been out?
So just over a month right now. It released on Cinco de Mayo on May 5th. And it continues to grow, and it's been great. We've been growing a big following in our Keto-Green community. We have over 10,000 people in our Keto-Green community now, and we've been doing a Keto-Green 16-day challenge in our challenge group, and we keep running that, and it's been pretty amazing. Oh, you know, great. Tom, that one thing, like you know, we believe in the power of healthy community and how important that is. And my vision with Keto-Green 16, when I was writing it, was that this was a book that would go into our corporate offices, our workplaces, our home groups, our Bible studies, and people would start to bring food, you know, together, community together around food and conversation. And so with the, you know, it happened, we released the book right in the middle of quarantine. So I had to think, how can we do this? So now creating this virtual Keto-Green community and groups and some breakout groups and things like that are happening. That has been a blessing, because with the power of community is so healing. Healthy community is so healing.
It certainly is. There's no question. Our friend Mark Hyman demonstrated that years ago with the Daniel plan. You know, Mark had a conversation with the minister of a large church and said, why don't we do a talk one night on a healthy diet? And they expected a couple hundred people. They had 5,000 people show up that night. It was unbelievable. And as a result, many people joined in just cleaning up the diet to simple foods. And Mark said that they lost 250,000 pounds. I think it was in 6 months or less. And so this concept of groups and groups coming together on Facebook or in other venues and with specific topics like Keto-Green 16, it's so valuable. People always do better when they're in groups, and such a great concept. Now, do we have a link for your book? Do you know, honey, do we have a link?
Yes.
Okay, we'll post the link if it's not already up. We'll make sure it's there. And let's see, Amal says, just ordered the book and the urine pH strips. Way to go, Amal. Thanks so much.
So on that, with that link, when they click that link to get the book, go back to that page and put your order number there so that you get all the additional book bonuses, which includes quiz, feast recipes. Gotta love my feast recipes, y'all. They are Keto-Green feast recipes. Avocado chocolate mousse is amazing. Our key lime pie, they're all dairy-free because I'm completely dairy-free. Dairy-free, grain-free. You will love these recipes. My carrot cake, ooh, it is incredible. Incredible. So those are, we love that. My mom was a baker, so finding recipes that I can convert into very low carb, very healthy combinations has been fun to do. And then they're just a quick start guide to get started while you're waiting for your book and things like that. And then an invitation for the Keto-Green 16 challenge.
Marvelous. Well, I want to recommend that everyone do this. Get this book. And if you're the kind of person that you don't read a lot of books, get it anyway, because you may read 15 pages and that concept that you read in those 15 pages changes your life. Mm-hmm. So for the investment of $20 for a book or whatever it is, with the shipping and all of that, if you get one concept out of a book, I start many of my seminars when I'm on stage. All over the world, I do this. One of the first slides is a slide of a display in the Museum of Science in Florence. And it's Galileo's finger. So you see this hand with a finger, just the bones, in this glass case in a marble stand. It happens to be Galileo's middle finger. And it was his last message to the church. And if you read the story of Galileo, he was suppressed his entire life from talking about and announcing his realizations and his studies and the things that he found out. But I put that slide of the display up, and then I say it's his middle finger and everybody laughs. But I put it up because I've sat, like you, Dr. Anna, we've sat in so many seminars over the years for license renewal, and because we have passion for different topics. If it's a good speaker, our pen is flying, taking notes. Check this book, order this research article, try this product, add this for this patient, call this patient, pages and pages of notes. If it's a weekend seminar, then we go back to work on Monday morning in the office, there's no time to implement any of it. And I often have 5 pages, 7 pages of notes, no time to implement. And I'd come back to them 7 months later. Oh, that's right. I'll find the notebook in my briefcase and I look at, oh, that was a good set. Oh, I forgot to do that, right? So I came up with the concept. If there's one thing that I come away with from a weekend workshop and the thousands of dollars I've spent to fly somewhere, to pay for the conference, the hotel, the meals, if there's one thing that I implement in my practice for the rest of my career, that was worth it. That weekend was worth it. I wish I was smart enough to implement 10 things, but I'm not. Right? So when you've got someone who's a world expert like Dr. Anna Cabeca, and she has a new book out, and you spend $25 and you get the book and you read 10 pages of the book, but oh, wow, I never thought, and you start doing the urine tests or whatever it is, it changes your life. And that's the way you make change, is by base hits win the ball game. It's the little things you do that you can implement. And most of us wish we could implement 20 things or 30 things. I wish I could implement everything in my notes from the seminar, but one thing, then just feel satisfied. That book, that was a good book. It was worth that book.
I love that. I always say your one next right step, but I kind of like Galileo's middle finger.
It's a great lead-in. It works. And it's great. All right, Dr. Anna Cabeca, thank you so much for being here today and for sharing this. But more importantly, thank you for following your passion and your bliss with Mighty Maka now for 10 years and talking about ketogenics and guiding so many thousands of people in this. You're having a huge impact in the world. And for everyone out there, order the book, click the link, let it come, and it might sit on your coffee shelf, and one day you open it up to the middle and just oh, that's really good. Or a recipe for carrot cake. If you get a great recipe for carrot cake, if that's it, it's worth it for the whole thing. All right, everyone. Dr. Anna, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. Thank you for all you do, Dr. Tom. I admire your work, a pioneer, trailblazer for the rest of us. Appreciate it. Thanks for sharing me with your audience.
Thanks so much. All right, everyone. See you next week. Bye-bye.